Welcome along, guys, to the Gfinity Arena, and today is all about Rocket League. Now, we're going to be looking back at the elite draft process, some of the players, where they've ended up, which franchises have picked up said players. But today, it's not just me who's here. It is, of course, Shogun joining me, the man himself.
Hey, man?
I'm good, man. How are you? It's no better man to talk about Rocket League.
Absolutely isn't.
Looking forward to the new season?
Of course, man. It's going to be great.
Okay, well, before we get too much into things, what we're going to do is have a quick look back at some of the best moments of the Challenger Series from some of these players that were involved in the draft process. So let's have a quick look right now. Some awesome stuff there, Shogun, as always, from these players that were involved in the draft process. But before we get any further, let's bring you all up to date at home and make sure that you know exactly which players are going to be playing for what franchises this season. All right, then, let's get started off with Hashtag United then. It's going to be Ixo and Noah. Then we move over to Envy, where they've picked up Meaty and Tubi. Method have Chupo and Z9. Fnatic have Adnom and Nagflow. Nordavind, deep breath here. Mads and Focus. XL have Breezy and Ollie Crook. Vitality, our current champions, have Junior and Ghostfire. Epsilon pick up Rams and EXT. Unilad pick up Switch 2475 and SJ. And finally, Asus, ROG Army, the new addition to the franchises, will be picking up Flux and Banana Man. All right, so there we go. You're up to date. You remember everything that I just said?
Absolutely.
Absolutely nailed it.
I never forget anything you say on set.
That's so cute. Anyway, let's start off. I think we have to start off by looking at last season, the champions, Vitality. Obviously, Freaky, Pashi, and Fairy Peak with their starting lineup. But some changes on the other side of things. One player that particularly impressed us last year has moved around.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, their main roster has changed very slightly. Now, instead of Freaky, they're going to be playing with, I believe, Scrub Killer has moved in. A very local player. He's English. He's only just turned of age to have to participate in these sort of events. And on the other side, their draft pick last season was Nagflow. Now, he was brought in twice last season and actually did some pretty decent performances, but this time around he's been released. He's going to be replaced by his twos teammate. He's
just to like show a little bit of, you know, going to be a bit of rivalry going on there, isn't there?
Absolutely. He's going to be replaced by both Ghostfire, who is one of his Germans, I believe he's German twos teammates, as well as Junior. So interesting picks there.
Interesting picks. And Nagflow moving over to Fnatic now. And I know you wanted to talk a little bit about Fnatic. Didn't have the best performance that we expected last season from as far as a placement was concerned. But some changes on the subs bench really for this team. And you think that could be quite impactful in the season?
Yeah, so last season, they didn't have actually as much access to Maestro as you typically want. I mean, Maestro is a world-class player. But he was, I believe, subbed out for 4 different weeks for whatever reason. Schooling, it could be literally anything. So it was very important for Fnatic to come into this series and have a very good draft for themselves and pick up 2 solid backup players who can replace Maestro, as well as maybe some other players should they need them. So they picked up both Andem and they've picked up Nagflow. 2 players who are both phenomenal, who've got incredible histories within Rocket League. I think they've done very well with that. They've got suitable replacements for a player who really can't be replaced.
Yeah, it's very difficult, as you say, world-class player, but having that depth to a roster has been a real secret to success in the Elite Series in previous seasons, so high hopes here for Fnatic. The draft process always throws up surprises for us, and that we have players come out of the woodwork that we've never heard of before, that just make a name for themselves within a season or so. Shogun's pick. Not to put too much pressure on you, everyone at home, watch this right now, write it down. This is now, you know, official. This is something to hold against you for the entire season. Who is your unknown quantity for this season? Someone that everyone's not going to know about, but someone that everyone will know about by the end of the season.
Look for Meaty.
Okay, why?
Meaty is a player for Shizou. It's a team that has been along for a very long time, but I think they're on 5th iteration now of Shizou. That is a lot of players that you've gone through your roster to make a 5th iteration. But he's a very highly rated player. I think he's a very solid backup. So Meaty, if he gets time on the pitch, I think he'll show up.
Okay, well, we've looked at some of the movers and shakers so far, what teams are going to have different players, etc. I'm going to put you on the spot one more time because I'm not going to lie, I love doing it because it gives me something to hold against you for an entire season. Let's talk about predictions for this season. Are we seeing another Vitality Championship lift, or are we seeing maybe some more competitors here?
I think in terms of depth, there's a lot more competitors around. But I think Vitality are just too strong. There's too much world-class talent on that team, especially now you brought Scrub Killer in. Someone's going to have to travel less. He's going to be less tired when he turns up to these events than maybe Freaky would have been. So I think Vitality are still the team to beat. But teams like Fnatic, some of the teams that we still don't know rosters of at this point in time, they could throw up a curveball. So very curious to see what people are going to turn up with.
All right then, Shogun, it's been a pleasure, as always. Come on. Air hug. But I miss you already, buddy. It's been a pleasure to have you back on the desk talking Rocket League. But it reminds to everyone, all these players that we're talking about at the moment have been moving around. They're on different rosters, different franchises. Things still can change, of course. We've still got some contracts to get tied. You know how it is. You're always bugging me about contracts and stuff. But of course, the season, most importantly, is only a few weeks away now. So that's going to do it all from us for now. But we will see you when the season kicks off. We'll see you there.